easy go.
All right, what's up, Buc Bros casters? Welcome to our part 2 episode of our season preview. We are going to be going through games 8 through 17 today, or 9 through 17.
9 through 17.
9 through 17. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what we saw in the preseason and really go over what our hopes are and what we're really looking forward to going into this season. I think Ryan has some of our predictions from the last episode that he can throw up for us, so catch you all up. And let's get right started to it. And with a rematch of the last year's wild card game, Bucs at Washington, November 14th. This looks like it's going to be a 1:00 game. Ryan, what do you think you're going to see in this game?
Yeah, this looks to be a really good game. The Washington Redskins are an upcoming team. I really like Chase Young's play, and they've got Fitzmagic now as their quarterback. So we'll see how they do. They played us really tough with a backup quarterback in last year's wild card weekend. But I got to go with the Bucs. You know, I think we'll be humming after a big win against the Saints. And, you know, it's in Washington. It'll be a tough game, but I think we're going to pull it out. Bucs get the win here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. We'll be coming off our bye week. We should have plenty of rest coming off the first half of the season. This will be the latest our bye week has been in quite some time since the Super Bowl run. And this is a team that's still rebuilding, that's still looking to make a name for itself, despite the fact that they did make it to the playoffs last year. I do also see this as a win. I expect this to be a game that's probably closer than we would like, just like it was in the playoffs. However, I do expect this to be a win. What are you thinking, Bryce?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you guys on this being a W. To your point, though, John, I believe last season our bye week came after 12 games. I was pretty late in the season, if I recall. But the good thing was after the bye, we didn't lose a game. So hopefully that'll be the same going into this season. But, yeah, I mean, Washington definitely has a tough defense, right? They probably have one of the better defensive lines in all of the professional football league. I mean, you have Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Damian Payne. I mean, those are all I think they're all first rounders. Just kind of, they're going to be a problem. But, again, Washington's got Fitzpatrick. Will he be Fitzmagic or will he be Fitztragic, right? And I think when you get to the midseason part of it, he tends to be a little bit more Fitztragic. And the last time Fitzmagic played the Redskins, if I recall, we were all together and he threw like 5 interceptions or something like that. So maybe he'll have another day like that, but with us involved instead. But in any case, yeah, chalk me up for a W here. I think we'll come out of the bye rejuvenated, re-energized, and looking strong.
Absolutely. And I think you make some valid points there. So looking forward to the following week. The Giants come visit the Bucs at home. That's going to be on November 22nd. That's going to be a primetime game that it looks like. Bryce, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, the Giants coming home for Monday Night Football. We had them at Monday Night Football last season, but it was at the Giants last year. And that was one of those, kind of sloppy games where we definitely didn't look our best. The Giants came out and, Daniel Jones looked really good. I don't know what it is about Daniel Jones against the Bucs. He seems to find another gear against our team and look like the first rounder the Giants were hoping for. And against every other team, he looks terrible. But in any case, again, I think the Giants are probably going to be one of the lower teams in the NFC East and the NFC in general. I'm looking forward to seeing Kadarius Toney as a Giant, as a former Gator. Hopefully he does good things with them, but just not on that day, not on that Monday night. So, again, chalk me up for a W here. I think, again, the offense is just going to be too much for them. This is, again, just one of those matchups where, on paper and just kind of what we all expect, this team, the Bucs are just that much light years ahead of where the Giants are at this point in time. So I see this as a win.
And Ryan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the Giants always seem to give us fits. Like you said, last year Monday night, we thought we were going to hand them easily and turned out to be on a last-second 2-point conversion denied by our defense with no flag. We got out of there with a win. I think last year I predicted us for a loss, and this year, as the superstitious Bucs fan, I'm going to have to go with another loss. So since I'm predicting a loss, I'm hoping we win just like last year. But I'll predict a loss. Danny Dimes always seems to have our number, and yeah, he's a thorn in our side. So a loss, and hopefully I'm wrong again like last year. John, why don't you wrap us up?
I am scared of Daniel Jones, but more scared of their third string quarterback, Mr. Mike Glennon, who could potentially come off the bench and seal this game for the Giants. I'm also going to consider this a loss just on the superstitious fear that we did my man, the Ginger Giraffe, wrong, and we're going to pay for it down the line. And that's going to be the week that we pay for it. There's no chance of an undefeated season. We always look crappy in prime time, even in the Brady era. I would have to say that this is unfortunately probably going to be a loss that we regret later in the season, but we learn from it and we move on. And though I do wish Mike Glennon all the best.
That would be something if it was the Mike Glennon redemption game. I mean, that guy's probably, I think he's been on 6 teams in 6 years since we let him go. And you know, I always enjoyed watching him play with the Bucs, even though, you know, he wasn't involved in that many wins. But in any case, you know, that would be something if he were to come and beat the Bucs on Monday night in Tampa.
And it would be the third former Bucs quarterback that we would be facing this season too, if we ended up facing Mike Glennon after already facing Jameis Winston with the Saints and Ryan Fitzpatrick with the Washington football team. So a lot of down team Buccaneers that we are going to have to move through this coming season.
Yeah, it looks like that.
All right. Following week, it looks like we are going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts. I believe this is the extra game added to the season this year. And this is a game where I'm going to absolutely call it a W. I know nothing about the Colts other than the fact that I know nothing about them, which leads me to believe that they're not that good. If they were good, you'd be hearing about them. And I don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know who their wide receivers are. I don't know who plays on defense. I know that Tony Dungy used to be the coach over there, and that's the only thing I know about the Colts. I'm calling this a W, easy W, 3 touchdowns, Bucs win. What do you think, Bryce?
Yeah, right. Like, I'm trying to even remember the last time we played the Colts. I mean, I assume it had to be sometime with Andrew Luck, or maybe even. Oh no, I remember now. We were at that game, Ryan. It was Jacoby Brissett in 2019. It's really not that long ago, but again, a game where I think they came out early and then we came back. Jameis had one of those few games where he caught on fire late and we came back and scored about like 24 unanswered points or something like that. But to your point, John, yeah, the Colts have definitely changed since even in those 2 years, to a point where I find myself kind of saying, I don't know what to expect from the Colts. I mean, they traded for Carson Wentz. He gets hurt at the beginning of training camp. Now he's on the COVID-19 list. I mean, who knows who their quarterback's even going to be to start the season. And then, outside of T.Y. Hilton, and I think T.Y. Hilton's hurt too, right? So, I mean, those are the only 2 guys I really know on that team. So with that being said, here we are with another kind of opponent where you just look at it and say, I really don't see how the Colts are going to pull out a win. I mean, it is the NFL. Any team can win on any given Sunday is the old saying, but on that Sunday, I just can't see the Colts winning at all. So this, again, I see as another win for the Bucs.
You know, looking back on that game, that was the game that Jameis Winston got injured, went to the locker room. Ryan Griffin came out for a short period, and then Jameis Winston returned and won the game late.
That's right.
I forgot that. I just remember being down 2 touchdowns and having a crisis. Like, why can't we beat the Colts? But yeah, it's kind of weird with the Colts now. It's an organization with such stability in years past with Peyton Manning, and then Andrew Luck being the face of the franchise, that now their quarterback carousel's kind of left them without an identity. The Colts are always in a playoff mix. I think they're well coached under Frank Reich, but like you guys said, I don't think they have the star power to keep up with the Bucs. And especially in my predictions after a loss, I don't think the Buccaneers will be too kind to the Colts in this game. I think the Bucs win easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with you 100% there. And then following that, we go into the start of December and we go to the Falcons in Atlanta. This is going to be an opportunity. It's the start of a rush of division games to end the season, where we end up with 4 division games in the final 6 games that we play. Bryce, what are you looking at with this Falcons game?
Yeah, and this just screams another trap game to me, right? And something about going to Atlanta. We typically struggle with playing in Atlanta. And if you guys recall from last season, right, we went in there, I think, week 15 or 14, and we got down real quick. Matt Ryan was just on fire. He was fighting Calvin Ridley all day, couldn't defend. I think we were down 17 points going into the third quarter. Something tells me that might occur again this year, and this time we might not come back. So unfortunately, I've got this as kind of an L for us. It's a division opponent who's going to get up. They're probably going to, either be a mediocre to a subpar team this year. We had us kind of crushing Atlanta at home to begin the season. Here, I think they kind of get their redemption, and we take the L here for our first loss after the bye.
Yeah, I feel you there. It does have a trap game, and like any division game, the Falcons are going to play us tough and play us close. But I think quite oppositely that this is where the Bucs start kind of getting into gear for the playoffs and start making a push for that. I have this as a win. I think the Falcons, I really just don't have a whole lot of faith that they're going to figure a whole lot of stuff out as the week or as the year progresses, and as this is getting late in the season. I don't think they're going to be in too much contention and not a whole lot of passion to play, and we will have a lot more to play for. So I've got it as a win, and I think we start counting a lot of W's to end the season.
And I agree with you, Ryan. I think this is going to be a W. I do see where Bryce is coming from on this possibly being a trap game. It does fall into that. And last year, it did seem like that's what was happening. We were down 17-0 to start the third quarter, but then we scored 21 unanswered. We scored 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, everybody got involved, and we started to click. You started to see what that offense could be capable of, and we all know how that season finished. And that's really where it started. For me, that's kind of when I knew that we could push on, and we were 9-5 when we faced them. I don't expect the season to hinge on a win late against the Falcons like it did last year. But I do think this is a game that we win, maybe not handedly, but I do think it's a game where we learn a little bit about ourselves and what we're capable of doing. And that's what I hope from this particular game.
All right. Well, after the Falcons, guys, I think this is another big circled game that we've got on the season. It's the Bills coming into town to face the Buccaneers. The Bills obviously coming off a run to the AFC Championship last year, look to be another strong team. We'll start with Buc Bros. What do you think Josh Allen and company are going to bring to Tampa Bay?
Yeah, the Bills are definitely going to be a challenge coming into Tampa Bay. When the schedule came, or I guess when we knew that we were going to get the home game, if this was flip-flop, right, if we were playing Buffalo in December, I'd be like, oh, man, that just screams loss, right? Because the old Bucs thing can't play in, any temperature below 40. But fortunately, we get them at home. So hopefully it'll be nice in that 75 area. The humidity's kind of dropped a little bit in December. Be one of those beautiful afternoon games. Bills are a tough team, right? You got Josh Allen, who's coming into his own. He's really one of the elite quarterbacks now after last season. Stephon Diggs is their top wide receiver. I mean, they have a great wide receiver core. Defense is pretty strong. They're well coached too. Sean McDermott has that team kind of just humming. You know, he did a really good job last year, and I see that team being another strong contender in the AFC this season too. That being said, you know, I think this is one of those games where obviously it's not going to be hard for us to get up. December was kind of that month last year where we kind of knew, hey, this is go time. This is where we got to start kind of pushing toward the playoffs. And I think this will be the start of that, where we're going to get the big W here at home against the Bills, kind of show our mettle, right? You know, two really good teams going at it, and we'll come up on top to say, hey, you know, last year wasn't just a fluke. We're a strong team, and we're going to show you here.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Bryce, 100%. And I think this game is going to be the Super Bowl preview, much like last year's Chiefs game was a Super Bowl preview. This game for us, I'm not comfortable calling it a win. I don't know if I'm there yet in my belief with this team from what I've seen in the preseason and really what I know of them. I don't know if I'm comfortable calling it a win because they're so stacked. The Bills are such a good team. You know, any team that goes 13-3 looks good. Any team that makes it to the AFC Championship looks good. They are a dominant team. The only thing we have going in our favor really is the fact that this is going to be a home game. But I do believe this is a team we're going to play twice next season. So you can throw that one up on your calendars. I'm calling it. This will be the Super Bowl preview game, Bucs and Bills, and I'm gonna call this one a W. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a W. We're gonna beat them, and then we're gonna have to beat them again. What is gonna happen?
Yeah, John definitely has that vibe of a potential Super Bowl matchup. The Bills coming off a great season and only look to be on the rise. All I know is for 20 years, Tom Brady tormented Bills and Bills fans, and he's going to continue that. Bills fans are going to be licking at the chop to get Tom Brady and get back at him for all those years of misery in the AFC East, and it's just not going to happen. We all know Tom Brady loves to revel and crushing people's dreams, crushing teams' dreams, and he's going to do it again this week. Like I said, we're going to begin our streak of wins to end the season. Another big W for the Buccaneers here as we look to end strong.
All right. You know, we got all W's across the board in that big matchup. Good to hear. Well, the next game is also a home game, another big time game against the New Orleans Saints, division foe, and probably going to be the team that competes with the Bucs for the NFC South crown this year. So Buc Bro, John, let's start with you. What do you think about this?
This is where we begin to pull away to win the division. I think this is going to be our opportunity to make a statement that the Drew Brees era of domination in the NFC South is over, that our time has come. And I think we spanked the Saints by 3 touchdowns, and you see Jameis Winston get benched. This is going to be a primetime game. The country will be watching, and we are going to prove that we are the dominant team in the NFC South. That's what I expect from this game. I don't see anything out of the Panthers to end the season. That's going to be 2 quick W's. This will be the last real test of our mettle in our division, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to really put the division away. And we do it December 19th, 8:30. That's when we stomp it out. We're really going to show them that night.
Yeah, I honestly just don't have a whole lot of faith in the NFC South other than the Bucs. I've got it as a win. I honestly see the Saints not doing so well. I don't think Jameis is a good fit. I just think he's too impulsive, and he's going to show what he showed in Tampa Bay, which is poor decision making and costly turnovers. And it's going to put Saints in tough positions to win. He's going to make too many mistakes that it's going to cost them, a lot of W's. So I've got us with a W. I don't think the Saints are going to come in and put up much of a fight in their home stretch or in the home game. And since we close out against our division, again, a lot of W's. So easy win against the Saints.
Yeah, again, I'm with you guys on the W train here. I think this is going to be a win, and with you on a solid win too. I think in every Buccaneers mind from last season, got the whole team back from last season. That Sunday night game against the Saints at home last year was probably one of their worst experiences as a professional football player. I mean, that was just a beat down from the Saints from the start to finish. And everyone's going to know that on their mind and say, hey, we're not letting that happen again this year. Not here, not in our house. And, this is to just stop the division, we're not clowning around with anybody this year, right? So I'm with you. I think Tom Brady in the offense has a great game. Defense comes out flying. Like you said, Ryan Winston with that propensity to throw interceptions will probably throw multiple interceptions, hopefully a few to the house as he did so often in the Tampa Bay uniform. So again, I'm with you guys. I think this is a solid W. We shut the division down. We claim the NFC South for for the first time in I think since 2007. Take that NFC South crown home here and get the W.
I love it. I love it. I love talking about beating the Saints. They're one of my favorite teams to beat. As far as
there is no better team as a Buccaneer fan to beat than the Saints. I agree with you there.
I have a memory burned in my mind of us at a game and we're in the end zone and it's late at night and we're beating the Saints and some stupid Saints fan is like, but we're winning. And I just remember Bryce being like, look at the scoreboard. Like they weren't even close. And they're just a bad franchise. And I'm going to really enjoy this win. It's going to really roll me into the Christmas spirit that week. And I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that was a fun game for sure.
All right. Sunday, December 26th, the day after Christmas. Everybody's going to be a little worn out and tired, a little extra eggnog in the refrigerator. Bucs at the Panthers. Ryan, what are you expecting from this game?
The first time we see the Panthers, and it's, again, one of those, we get a division rival in the 2 out of the last 3 weeks, this being the first one in North Carolina. The Panthers, again, like a lot of the NFC South teams, don't leave a whole lot to be desired. They've got Sam Darnold as their new quarterback, Matt Rule in his second year as their new head coach. And I just don't think, again, I think they're going to be trying to find out who they are. They may find out who they are mid-season, and they may pick up a couple of wins, but I just think we're going to be the more established team, know what we're doing, and come out there and kick their ass, to be honest. So yeah, the Bucs win big. I think the Panthers are going to struggle this season. Simple as that. Bryce, what do you think?
Yeah, Carolina's a team. I'm with you. It's tough to kind of evaluate because there's so many uncertainties there. Sam Darnold didn't do well with the Jets. I don't know what makes us believe he's going to do any better with Carolina, other than he's in a new system with a new coach. But again, the light could turn on there, and he could, come out blazing, right? Your second year as Matt Rule is the second year as a coach. Does he kind of make improvements from the last season? They still got like Robbie Anderson's a pretty, he's a good wide receiver. They've got talent on that team. But in terms again of, where they compare to the rest, not even the rest of the division, where they just compare to the Buccaneers, again, there's just a wide gap. And, last season we pretty much dominated Carolina every game we played. I think the first game, we were still kind of finding ourselves. And then that game at Carolina where we put up 40 something on them. Ronald Jones had a 98-yard run. I'm kind of with Ryan. I don't see any difference this season in how they're going to play against the Bucs, even if it's week 15 or 16, I guess this season. They're probably going to be out of it, playing just for pride. It is at Carolina. It is a division game. Any division game on the road is going to be tough. But that being said, I'm with Ryan. I think we just kick their ass and, it'll be a nice little Box Day. Is that the 26th, right? A little Box Day present for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you guys. If it wasn't for Christian McCaffrey, you would have no headlines regarding the Carolina Panthers this offseason. And that's only because most fantasy drafts were this week. There really isn't a whole lot to the team right now. for better or for worse. And, this is a game where I expect us to maybe even rest some starters, to take some time to really evaluate us going into the postseason, if we haven't already locked up a spot at that point. I expect this to be an easy W. I know I say that about every game, but this is a game where if I was betting the farm, it would be on a win for the Bucs. The following week, we go and face the New York Jets. This is going to be another fun one. Ryan, tell me what you feel in your heart of hearts going into this game.
What I feel is that Jets fans better be working on their New Year's resolutions rather than watching this game, because this game's going to be a slaughter. The Jets, I have no faith in the Jets. There's a lot of teams I don't have a lot of faith in. The Jets are probably the number one team that I have no faith in. They got a new head coach. They don't have a whole lot of good weapons. I don't even know who their receivers are. Corey Davis, I think, is one who didn't really do a whole lot after a number 5 overall pick for the Titans. Never came to fruition. So, yeah, I would stay away from the TV if you were Jets fans. The Buccaneers are going to come in and whip that ass.
Yeah, this is the annual part of the Jets fans season where they stop watching professional football and start tuning into college football bowl games to figure out who their first overall pick is going to be, because they're probably going to be drafting in the top 5 once again. Like Ryan said, they got a new quarterback. Zach Wilson's going to be their starter. Outside of that, I couldn't really name any other Jet on the team outside of the Michael P. Ryan, former Gator, who I hope gets a chance to shine out there. But knowing the Jets, I'll probably start some, Frank Gore, some shit like that has no business playing the league anymore. But that being said, we're here to discuss what the Buccaneers are going to do against the Jets. And just like Ryan said with the Panthers, they're going to just probably kick that ass. Even if it's probably like that Lions game from last season, even if we put in Blaine Gabbert in the second half or whoever we throw out there, it's just going to be an ass whooping. And again, just one of those games where, we're not used to it as Bucs fans. We're so used to it being on the other side, like, oh, here we go again. We're going to get our ass kicked. But Jets are one of those teams where it's like, oh, man, I'm glad I'm not a Jets fan. So, chalk this one up as a W going into the playoffs, as we head into the playoffs.
I'm gonna have to call this one a quick W. I've never heard any of these people. This kid looks like he could be starring in a remake of Saved by the Bell. And so, easy.
How creative are the second New York teams, right? Like the Mets, the Jets, the Nets. Like they just took we're just gonna use Ets and then put a what rhymes with all these things,
You gotta love it.
Well, speaking of things you gotta love ending the season in Tampa Bay, January 9th against the Panthers. Week 18, game 17. And again, would have just faced the Panthers. We'll start with Buc Bros. Panthers coming into town. Our final game of the season. What do you got?
Yeah, obviously we're going to know this team pretty well at the end of the season, having just played them 2 weeks ago. So it's not like there's going to be a whole lot of surprises when they come to Tampa. It's not like, again, it's not going to be like, oh, man, we saw this team in week 8 and, look at where they are now. It's like, oh, well, we just played you guys. So, but again, it's a division matchup end of the year. It could be at that point in time where we're not starting any really starters. If we're, as our predictions have said, I'm pretty sure we're going to either have already clinched the division and then, either we're playing for that first round bye as the number 1 seed, or we already have that locked up and we're resting starters. In any case, I see this as kind of going how it did last season with Atlanta being in the place, or Carolina being in the place of what Atlanta did last season, where we kind of just take this home, put a little nice ribbon on the season. Job well done, guys. Let's take this W into the playoffs and keep that momentum going forward. Chalk this one up as a W to end the season.
John, your thoughts?
I expect Kyle Trask to throw 2 touchdowns in this game. while Tom Brady works on stretching out his calves. This is going to be an easy game for guys like Darden to get into the mix and maybe get some, some scores in the season. I don't expect any starters to play. Week 17 is not something teams have ever had to face before. And like Bryce said, short of us, playing to secure the number 1 seed or a bye or something to that effect, I just don't see us putting in the effort really. And even then, Blaine Gabbert and our backup offense is a 10-win team. So I expect the backups to do their job and to get a W in this game and to roll into the postseason. Anything short of that is a miserable failure. So that's what I'm expecting to end the season, is to win one at home, celebrate, fire the cannons, enjoy yourselves, and then get started with that postseason.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Like Bryce said, I consider it much like the Falcons game of last year. We'll have had plenty of experience with the Panthers from week 16, our previous, other game, I guess. And nothing new will surprise us. I do expect the starters to play just because I think I have us at 3 losses, which I think would be in contention for the number 1 seed. And with obviously the new playoff format, having that number 1 seed is a huge advantage with the bye week. So I think we will be vying for that, and we'll play our starters and we'll win comfortably. So not much more to say in the season. I think on my schedule with 7 wins, putting us at 14-3. So pretty good. I think we have us all at a pretty good season. I didn't keep track of what the records were, but before I put this up, I just want to get a thought from you guys on what you saw in the preseason. We finished 1-2. We won our last game, and I thought we looked pretty good. But Bryce, what do you think? Main takeaways from the 3 preseason games heading into the season?
Yeah, the preseason here really, if we're going to see what this team was going to be like in 2021, I mean, the starters only played really the 3rd game with any kind of, real playing time, and they just kind of lit up the Texans. I expect the Texans to be like the worst team in the league, so I don't really read whole much into that, but it was nice to see that the starters looked like they were on cadence. Kind of the 2 drives there were, we just kind of marched right down the field. There was it was nice to see that, going into week 1, that things seemed to be clicking with the offense as for the starters, at least. That being said, I mean, my main takeaway was kind of the depth, right, of this team. Even with the 2nd string, 3rd string, I know some of the defenses had, there's some lapses there. Offense with Trask kind of stalled a bit. There's some, not so great turnovers by the offense. I think Griffin and Trask had a few interceptions where you're kind of like, I don't know where you were throwing there. But that being said, I mean, you could see that this team is just loaded with depth. And that's like my main takeaway here, is that this team, even outside of the starters, if someone unfortunately gets hurt, we've got some backups who are capable of playing. And my breakout guy, I had said Darden to begin in my season 1 or part 1 of these season predictions to look out for. I still think he's going to have a decent season, but man, Joe Tryon, he looks like he's going to be a future star, man. I watching him play, he's got another gear at that outside linebacker position, and he's going to have some learning curves along the way, right? He's just a rookie. He's going to have to learn how to play within Todd Bowles' system, but he in that system, he looks like he could thrive. And just from what I saw, he looks like, he could be a potential, Pro Bowler going forward in his career.
Yeah, Bryce, you took the words right out of my mouth. I also am big on Darden. I think in the punt return game, he's going to give us a weapon that we really haven't had as Bucs fans in a long time, which is a special teams weapon, a return man, somebody who can really, change the dynamic of a game. But Joe Tryon, just what a monster. And I think getting to play alongside guys like JPP and Shaq Barrett is going to do so much for him in the long run in his development and what he's going to be capable of. And what a great pick to take 32nd overall. Another wonderful pick on defense out of UW after Vita Vea, and just a guy who living here in Seattle, like I hear tons about, and they're just very high on him. And I knew that after the draft immediately that he was going to be an impact player. And like you said, he's going to have some room to grow, especially on his run blocking. Excuse me, not on his run defense, and that's where he can develop. But nobody's pristine when they first get started. Everybody has some room to grow, but he has the instinct and the intangibles and the physical skill to get it done. The only area of concern that I really saw was our offensive line depth, where you saw some of those issues with Trask and with Gabbert and with Ryan Griffin was on offensive line. They just weren't getting enough time to let plays develop. Our starting offensive line, when they're healthy, is phenomenal. And I just think that behind them, there are some question marks. And so going into the season, that would be my only main area of concern, is that I hope we can find a way to shore some of that depth up. And that's my only thing of concern that I saw in the preseason so far.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we had the win at the end of the season to get our hopes up going into it. From an offensive perspective, I liked what I saw at the last game. I thought we were stumbling again. We didn't get to see the starters in the second game, and we only got to see them, I think, 1 or 2 drives in the first game. So it looked like what I saw at the end of last season, where our first drive, we got 3 and out, and then on the second and third drives, we kind of just willed our way into the end zone. They didn't really have an answer for it. So I think what we saw was this team is still capable of doing that, still willing itself to, do what they want on the field. And if that team has that mentality throughout the season, I think it's going to be a very good season. Defensively, we looked a lot more attacking. It looks like we kept the identity of the defense from last year. We didn't seem as timid as I've seen in years past, and it looked like we got a lot of turnovers, but it may just be preseason because it seems there's a lot of turnovers in every game on both sides of the ball. And like you guys said, what a luxury to have guys like Joe Tryon and Jart and Jalen Darden. We have 2 capable outside linebackers in JPP and Shaq, both voted top 100 players in the NFL. And to add a guy like Tryon to the rotation, it's just going to cost fits for a lot of offensive linemen. So all in all, I'm very happy with the preseason. I know we didn't end with a great record, but from the little snippets that we have of the first teams, we look like a pretty strong team.
No, I was just going to say, and when we did see the first team, that Brady Antonio Brown connection looked unstoppable. The Texans did not have an answer for that whatsoever. That first touchdown drive, we just marched all over them. And so to know that a team is going to have to defend that level of chemistry between Tom Brady and Antonio Brown, while also still having to worry about someone like Chris Godwin or Mike Evans on the other side of the field, I'm not sure there are a lot of defenses in the league that are going to have an answer for something like that. And perhaps it was good that we didn't show a lot of that in the preseason, and we can hang on to that going into some of these games and use that to our advantage.
Yeah, and and the third draft in particular was kind of what we did best last season on offenses. The old adage was you use the run to create the pass. Well, in this league now, it's right. The pass opens up the run. And you could kind of see that in the third and final drive of the starters, where Ronald Jones was ripping off a few long ones because they had to, account for all the pass or all the wide receivers and the pass options that we have. And on a second drive, it was like they couldn't stop anything, right? So, with this offense is capable of doing whatever it wants when it gets into that kind of groove. So it was good to see that, they're still at that point in time where it's, hey, if we got 90 yards to go for a touchdown, we're more than capable of doing it. And then what I was going to say, Ryan, too, to your point about having, two outside linebackers on the top 100 list, I think for both the NFL's top 100 and ESPN top 100, which I think they released today, There were 8 Buccaneers overall that made that list. So 8 players who are in the starting lineup for the Buccaneers are considered to be top 100 players. I mean, that in itself should tell you right there how good this team, from a talent perspective, really is.
And the most top 100 players that Brady has ever had on a team with him is 5. So this should be, the way it's written up, the most stacked team that he has yet had his opportunity to play with.
All right, Buc Bros, thanks for joining us. Again, this was our part 2 of our season predictions. We're going to be along the ride for the entire season. I think we're going to do a weekly episode this season, so stay tuned. And if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe to us. Looking forward to it. And we can't wait to celebrate for you guys. Can't wait for the NFL season to start. So, as always, Buc Bros, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Speaking of people who have no business being in the league anymore, can you name the former 5th-round Buccaneers pick who still plays for the New York Jets?
5th round pick?
5th round pick.
5th round pick.
Quarterback. I'll make it easier for you.
5th round pick.
I'll say
Johnson.
It is Josh Johnson.
Oh, gee, really? He's playing with the Jets?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Case closed on that team then. I mean, Jesus Christ.
New Jets quarterback Josh Johnson signed August the 5th